Mary Shelley, who lived in the 19th century London, wrote one of the most iconic fictions in history, Frankenstein's monster. Mary was inspired by the new inventions and the discussions about what science could do in her time. When the monster was created, it was nothing like the scientist in the book hoped for. Today we have similar thoughts about creating artificial intelligence. Mary was not only a teenager when she wrote this book, in a time when women were not allowed to go to universities. She still managed to become an author. The book being about an unethical scientist striving towards creating his idea of perfection. The Unparalleled Adventure of One Hans Pfaall is a short story written by Edgar Allan Poe. The famous American poet captured the imagination of flying to space in a balloon, to land on the moon with the balloon. At this time, people thought it was real. It was intended to be a hoax, a bluff. People can believe in anything if they do not know. Let's say you had no idea about the atmosphere and that the moon was so far away. You can see it during the night, so it must be close. But luckily people found out that this was not true in just a couple of days. Jules Verne, a late 19th century author from France, wrote a book called From the Earth to the Moon. He was inspired by the short story written by Edgar Allan Poe. Later on in the 20th century, NASA sent the first space flight to land on the moon, and Neil Armstrong made references to the book. 100 years earlier, Verne's ideas was pure fiction and dreams, and now they were true. In the 19th century, we also started to dig up fossil fuels. Verne also wrote about underwater ships and the dreams of being able to live underwater with the new advanced technology. He had a ship with glass windows in mind. To explore our own planet is just as important as exploring space. Today we have species dying rapidly from the climate change. Everyone has in some sense experienced or seen the effects of technology used in war with bombs and machines. Technology does not seem to bring us a bright future at all. It might be the end of humanity. The once so naive thoughts about flying ships and balloons were used in the worst possible way. In the deadliest war in human history, World War II. All these inventions we had dreamed about and created were tools used for mass destruction. With the arising modernization and the second industrial revolution in the 20th century, a new optimism arose. The segregation between classes shrunk a bit in the industrial countries, and more people could afford modern homes. People lived longer with their new high life standards. This increased the usage of fossil fuels, and today we know fossil fuels are not sustainable. And inexpensive machines was built to build affordable houses. This led to the founding of the Coal and Steel Union in Europe, leading to countries cooperating and becoming dependent on trading with each other. It was the ending of the it was the beginning of the European Union. As the inventions of smartphones and the internet got more accessible, we had a digitalization shift. it's not only our phones who will be connected to the internet. Soon, whole buildings and other things will be smart and connected to the internet. We are engaged in the internet activities and spend more time looking at screens without knowing the long-term effects. We are not always aware of the fact that everything smart is based on information collected from people. That's a way of making artificial intelligence. A person from the early 19th century might have seen the balloon as a space vehicle, a progress of science, but a person post-war might have had connotations from the war, while a modern person in the West might see it as something fun. When starting your project, have in mind to use symbols and indications of developing technology. Good luck!